You ready, Sarah and Ryan?
Sounds good.
All right, my name's Kendall Adam, the county conservationist for the Oconto County Land and Water Resource Department, Conservation Department. Our committee's a resource committee now. So we started this back in 2016, I believe, doing a countywide lake study, and I'm not going to go into all the detail because Dale Moore from Youth Extension is going to. But we started back then, and your lake came up in the selection process this year to go on a 2-year study with us to find all kinds of information you're going to hear about tonight, what's going to be collected and all that stuff. But one thing I wanted to touch base with right away is on our website, the county website, all this information is stored. So at any time, your neighbors, you, whatever, you can go and gather this information. And with that, I'm going to share our screen for our county website and show you where it's at, because it isn't always the most user-friendly to get to. So I am going to jump in here. I believe that's the one. All right, does everyone see the county website? At least anybody see the county website?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So what you do is you go up to the top here, and under this departments tab, you click on that. When you get there, it'll open up the page. You can go down this side, or easier to go down the left side and find land and water conservation. Click on that, that'll take you to our department's homepage. You can read our mission statement if you're really bored. Otherwise, go to the left-hand side. And we set it up, the very first tab is the county waterways and aquatic invasive species. If you want other information below that, you can go read about that stuff. That's the tab you want to go into about the lake stuff. When you click on that, you get in here and you see we've got a series of different items on here. Want some information on aquatic invasive species, you can click on the first one. Countywide lake study, that's where all this information is going to be housed. But then after that is shoreline restoration. I just wanted to touch on, we've got information on shoreline restoration there. We take and come out and do site visits to anybody's property. There's no fee to it, no commitment, and give you recommendations on things that can be done to improve the runoff into the lake and stuff. So there's some of that information under there. Funding sources, we have cost sharing for individual properties to help stop erosion. And we also have for lake associations and municipalities and stuff like that to work on the large projects on your lakes. So that you can find under funding sources. Oconto County Lake Waterway organizations, that's all the organizations, associations, districts, sportsman clubs, Oconto County Lakes and Waterways Association. Contact numbers and information's under there. Topographical lake maps, you're going to get a new map of your lake with part of this project. And once that's done, that'll be under that section. So I'll go into the countywide lake study, keep it short, and you can see on this page here, first bullet, I guess you want to call it, is the operational strategy plan for surface water management and protection. That's our county plan that kind of helped us create this program. So if you're interested in reading that, by all means, go into it. The Oconto County All Lake Summary Draft. This is all the data we're collecting from the lakes we've done so far. I think we're at 51 lakes in the county that, including yourself, that are getting into the program or process. It takes a lot of that information from all the lakes, and there'll be charts in there that'll show all the lakes compared. So you can find out where Sunrise compares to Lee Lake or to Crooked Lake or to Kelly Lake, whatever, once they're done. But there's a bunch of information in there, and that, by all means, you want to go in and look at it. Oconto County Lakes Project Update. This is something we have to try to keep you up to date on that, but Dale Moore is going to talk more about it. And then the very last one is the individual county lake summary reports, surveys, plans, virtual meetings. I'll click on that to go into it. And here you can see a list of, I don't know if you guys can see my cursor on there.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so you got to pay attention to these three little tabs here, but the lake summary reports and plans. So here's a list of all the lakes that we've worked in so far. And at the top here again is all lake summary, so you can actually find it here also. But as you see, like Anderson Lake has a lake summary report and a Ino Lake management plan. Some of them will have a summary and then a draft. That means they're not to the final. Eventually, you'll be able to scroll down and find Sunrise, and you'll be able to find that information on there. Lake surveys. Click on that tab. This is a survey that we ask that you take to help with this process. Everyone in the household can take it. It's not just one person, whatever. It's anybody that has an interest in the lake, and it's an opinion-based survey. So ask you to take that. And then finally, the lake study virtual meeting recordings. Here, you can see the ones we've done so far. Anybody that your neighbors or whatever that didn't make it and want to actually listen to the meeting at a later date, usually in about a week to 2 weeks, we have it posted on there after tonight, and they'll be able to go there and find our meeting from tonight and listen to it. So for me, that's all I have at this point. What I'm going to do now is change it up a little bit. We're going to have Sarah from UW Extension, actually, if she's there yet, or Stevens Point, I mean, go through on one, how Zoom works, and then talk about a little bit. We've got some poll questions for you tonight to explain that quick.
Okay. So I think if anyone had particular there, you can use the chat feature at any point. On the bottom of your screen, if you're on a computer, there's a number of settings and things, but there should be a little chat bubble that you can open up, and you can use that at any point if you have questions or comments. You can also just feel free to speak up. Just be sure that you are unmuted if you have something to say. And there's a little microphone button that you can mute and unmute yourself. We do ask that during some of the talk, you can have it muted, just because if there's background noise, it'll kind of cut in, and then it can be distracting. But if you do have questions or comments, then you can unmute yourself and then feel free to speak up. Then I'm going to launch a poll question too. I think that's pretty much it for Zoom. If you're having any issues, you can use the chat or speak up, and we can help you with that. But I'm going to try this out here. There should be a question that'll come up on your screen. That you can answer and submit.
Can you pick more than one?
Oh, I don't know.
Hopefully you only have one.
Oh.
Sarah, do you want us to answer that as well, just as a general, or do you want it to be just the Lake Association folks?
I think
Just-
just the Lake
I-
Association, just for
yes.
Sunrise Lake.
Okay,
Sunrise.
Did you say something?
Yeah.
You can answer more than one.
I wonder what yours would be, Derek.
mine would probably be water quality.
Not aquatic invasives.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It depends on the lake, really.
Right, that's true.
So Sarah, do you want them to check one or two and then hit submit? Is that what we're trying to do here, or just
Yes.
verbalize them?
Yeah, and I think I have 9 answers, and I don't know how many participants. I have 15. I think probably we have 1, 2, 3, probably
We
have.
have about 10.
Okay, maybe one person didn't. Okay,
I thought one person was coming in on a phone, so they would not be able to do it.
oh, right. Okay. Brian, are you able to share the poll responses?
Let's see.
Oh, I need to end it. I need to end the poll. Sorry, guys, this is the first one we've done. We even practiced. Okay. So now you should be seeing it to the results.
Right there.
The tie, yeah. Okay.
So water quality, lake usage would be tied. Some concern about shoreline development, and a couple that fall into the other category, and one person with no concerns. So this is kind of helpful just to start thinking about this as you enter the like planning process, and helpful for as we start developing a plan. Anything to add, Ryan?
I don't think so. Looks good.
Any feedback on what the others were? There was 2 others. What were the other issues?
Right, does anyone want to speak if they voted other, if you,
So I clicked other. I'm concerned about the water level in the lake.
Too high, too low?
It's way too low. I know we haven't had a lot of rain, but it's very low. And I actually wanted to ask about, right now the water drains out and we were told we can't block it from draining out. So we have a potential to keep it higher, but I think it was the DNR said we can't block it. We can't put in a block to keep the water level up. And I didn't know if that's something that you can address with other ideas of how we can make that improvement.
So is the lake currently impounded? I mean, are there boards there at the outlet?
Yeah,
Um,
there's actually a pipe.
Yeah, pipe.
Okay,
And at this point, we've been advised, sorry, Jad, I just thought I'd explain a little bit.
Yeah,
that
go ahead, Reed.
To keep the pipe in a closed fashion. There's almost like well, there were bricks and that on there, but it's closed off completely now. So it isn't, the overflow is not running into the swamp.
Oh, is that right?
Correct.
So when did that happen?
That was back a couple years when the water levels were so high and they were impeding on people's shoreline. When the water was at such a high level and docks were being affected. So that's when that was determined to, you know, oh no, I said that wrong.
Yeah,
At that point, the brick was removed. And so a constant water level is being run through that pipe.
right. So it
But
keeps
now it-
going down.
Now it hasn't been actually draining off anymore the last year because the water level's actually
So
below
low.
that pipe. And I think it's one of our cycles again that we're
Yeah.
going through.
Mhm.
there's definitely a natural cycle to that. Who owns that structure? Do you know?
Yes, yeah, we know the owner of that, and there was a conversation with the DNR and himself at that point.
Okay, it's a private owner.
Right,
Okay. Yeah, it's because it's listed as a seepage lake on the DNR. And so, yeah, that's news to me to know that there's that there. Okay. That's good. Good information.
so Jan, if you wanted to add anything else to that.
Know that it was pretty much covered. I wish we could block it up again so the lake would build up because it's just so low now.
Right.
Like putting our boat into the lake, it's almost impossible because you have to drag it. It hits the bottom.
Right, we're getting a shoreline again, you know, a sand beach.
Yeah, it
so to
affects the
speak.
shoreline too, yes.
Right,
And that pipe is currently open, you say?
No,
yes, the water level is now below that.
right,
Okay, gotcha.
but
Yep,
it's open, yeah.
right. So at this point, closing that pipe wouldn't necessarily change the water level in the
Right
lake.
now it wouldn't, but
Yeah.
it would have helped, you
Yes,
know, earlier in
Gotcha.
the year or
Okay.
last year.
You know, we had some winters that haven't had a whole lot of snow the last few, so our runoff has been minimal. And of course, I think that's affected. Now, this year so far, our snowfall has been sizably more, so maybe that will help build our water level up. But like Jan said, if it does come up and if it reaches that pipe, we're gonna have drain off right away, and then you get your evaporation in the summertime and it's back down again.
The hard thing with controlling water on a lake is it might be for you that board in there is good, but the next person it is not good. I mean, you got to look at everyone around it.
Right.
And then also, if you max the lake out, say to where it's running over the top of that structure, then all of a sudden you get a 4-inch rain, then what happens? You know, I mean, you can
Right.
start causing major problems. So not that you don't block it temporarily at times, but it might not be in the spring you block it. You don't block it until midsummer or something, you know. So when it only goes down so far and it's get more in the dry season and whatnot. But there's a lot more to think about it than just throwing a board in and call it good, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it can be a challenge.
Well, and just looking at a map here, I see that, you know, of course, you guys are the natural the fluctuations in level are natural, you know, and you guys being at the very top of the watershed. I mean, there's not much watershed, you know, between you and the green, or there's not much watershed above you, going all the way up to the Green Bay. You guys are really at the head, and it's those lakes that are going to experience the most fluctuation right there at the top. So that's going to be inherent in your lake to a certain degree, but definitely something we can look at.
Yeah. But that's good conversation, and this is the kind of stuff
Yeah.
that why we have these meetings tonight and stuff. So as we go through this, bring this stuff up, concerns you have and everything else. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Dale Moore from UW Extension. He helps us on this project, and he's going to explain a little bit about the project and why we're into it. You want me to start to?
How's everybody doing tonight?
Great.
It's so good to see so many people. It's exciting to have a new lake start up. You might think, hey, I'm just one property owner and it's just one lake in the grand scheme of things. But everybody who's on here tonight, the meet your scientists that we call it, we're looking at it as more of a holistic approach. And we've been dealing with this for a number of years, and we're looking at it from the let's say the 50,000 foot level type of thing. So I think we're going to try to share a real quick PowerPoint here. Yep, I think that's it, Ken. And you should be able to see it.
Yep.
Okay, so really, with this project, we're calling it the Oconto County Lakes Protection Study. It's going to just go a little bit about the history, but we really want you to walk away tonight knowing that even though the project is going to take a couple of years to get to the planning stage, we want you to stay involved. There is a survey that's out there. We're going to be asking you some additional questions tonight, but the key here is really staying involved, being able to email us whenever something is coming up over the next 24 months, and even beyond that. So, Ken, would I be able to change that? Okay. So as it goes to Oconto County, there's a lot of competing factors out there. So when we talk about water, everybody who lives on a lake or a river is thinking that, hey, you know what? The county should really care about this. We should have a lot of resources coming towards us. But really, when the county looks at it, and everybody should be somewhat familiar with communities and the counties that they're in, you'll notice that the county seat is off on the bay side, and you're about 70 some odd miles away from where the majority of the lakes are. So you only have about 3 supervisors out of 31 that are up there that sit on the county board. So there's a lot of competition going on for other things, safety, industry, that sort of thing. So lakes is not always at the top of the list that we would like to see it. So when we looked at that, we thought, hey, you know what? Let's start talking to a number of folks and what's a good key event that could happen. And that was the 10-year conservation plan that we first thought, hey, let's start engaging people and start asking some of the detailed questions, a citizen group on what their concerns were. And really it came up that even though they were from all walks of life in the different industries, agribusiness, naturalists, lake owners, people who don't live on a lake, but they recreate on a lake, they all had within them the idea that they wanted to have the healthiest waters in Wisconsin. We call that the big, hairy, audacious goal out there, but it's something that really chimed in and really emphasized what people were looking for, healthy water. So we were looking at, well, how would we progress forward? Ken's office is basically Ken and a handful of folks. My office is basically me. We're sort of looking at all this big, huge list of things that this group wanted to start to see, and we started to say, wouldn't it be nice if we could at least bring other people together to help out? And that sort of leads to this slide. If we got a lot of people coming and joining us in here, it'd be so much nicer. Is there a way that we could capture all this data? You saw a little bit of what Ken had out there. All those previous lakes, having studies done, having surveys done. Having the ability now to have a web page, being able to use Zoom, you guys being able to get high-speed internet, as high speed as it can be up in the northern parts or wherever you may be located today. But really, you're able now to engage with a lot of departments that you wouldn't be able to do 5-10 years ago. So anyway, we really wanted to build that base of information so that people could use it regardless of us having to push it out. It's somewhere like a library. We also wanted to listen to people throughout the process. Have listening sessions, have a two-way conversation instead of dumping information one way. So when we were looking at the base of information, we started to look at, well, we got over 300 lakes, 200 are named, but 60 of them have public access. So we thought, well, if we were going to deal with a project, a large effort, we should probably focus on those areas that are most in danger, let's say, because of human interaction, getting those boats coming in through the public access. So that's what this project involving your lake is about, is looking at the first 60 lakes with public access. We thought, well, how would we fund this program? We've been dealing predominantly with the DNR for lakes grants every year. And that's covering our costs with UW Stevens Point. We also have matched in kind through the 2 offices here for LandCon and Extension. So we were able to bring in outside dollars to make this happen. Let's see, we really wanted to create a tool for lake management so that even though you have an individual lake plan, we wanted to be able to have our staff look through the document and say, who's got phosphorus issues? Every lake. Not just one. We don't want to dig into each one. So let's create another document for that sort of thing. So you have access to that as well, where Ken showed you on the website. So that's pretty cool information as well. Let's see here. We wanted to have folks like Derek. We wanted to have the DNR. We wanted Ocala, Oconto County Lakes and Waterways Association, work with volunteers, get the word out, get people enthused about getting information and bringing it back for research and that sort of thing. So we've been able to do that as well. When we get into many hands helping out, really, this is the list of folks that we have right now that have been working on this project. So it started out with just 2 departments, and now it's morphed into this group of folks. Awareness through listening sessions, discussing. One of the things that we created was that we were looking at, let's see, a two-way conversation. And we established a citizen advisory committee. And that is anybody out there can come to the citizen advisory committee and voice their concerns. Anybody in an organized fashion, predominantly right now it's Ocala, we can push to them information that we want to get out. We've never had this before, but it's called a citizen advisory committee. It's sort of like a standing committee without actually being an official committee. Okay, so we finally have a way now, a conduit to get information up to the lake groups and get information back. So that's one of the key things over the last 6 years. We've had public feedback through a county-wide survey, which was a scientific survey. We had 400 responses for that. We do have those individual surveys that we desperately ask. I'm desperately asking you guys, fill it out. It's a little bit long, but if you guys could get more than 10, 20 people filling it out, it gives us some sort of trends, some current ideas and thought process filling out that survey. So again, we want to listen to what you guys are thinking about on your lake. We also developed a web page containing to archive that information. And then we were very fortunate that with the communication to our county board and painting them a picture of the dangers to our waterway, whether it's AIS, overuse, that sort of thing, safety concerns, that we were able to get the county to allocate $230,000 to help in additional grant money for projects. And you may hear a little bit more about that, but that's called the Healthy Waters Initiative. So again, good things are starting to happen with that large group of people coming together and us talking. Now, one of the things that you're probably going to do is you're going to leave this meeting and you're going to remember some of our names. But if you can remember this document, Ken showed you the website and how to get to the individual documents. You cannot get on it tonight, but you will in the next few days. but it's called the Oconto County Lake Project Update. And you're going to start to see the document, and the current date will be in the upper corner of this page. Now, this is this is an older version because it's on my PowerPoint, but this will go through each of the goals of the project. It also identifies each of the lakes that have currently gone through and are adopted already with that aspect of the goal. So as you go through, when you look to this, the slide with the smaller sheets of paper, it's about what is that, 8 pages there. It's a nice handout for any of your neighbors or anybody who's interested in the project. It will tell you what we're looking at from the beginning to the end, and then who's already done and who's in the hopper. So as projects or pieces get done, the summer inventory and data collection for your lake, we're going to start to check that off. Okay, so it's a living document, so that we try to do at least maybe 3 times out of the year. But you're going to be able to pass that along to other people to understand what this project is all about. Now, what's that?
There's all our contact information.
Okay, yes, and Ken brought up, it does have all our contact information on it as well. So get that printed out, or at least put it on your desktop for your computer, and be able to peruse through it. Now, this last slide here really is, it's a little bit different because we went from one new web page to a brand new web page here at the county, but they basically have the same thing. I circled in red the Oconto County Lake Project Update. That's the thing I just talked about. That's what you're going to want to click on. But then the other thing that's most important is go to that page and you're going to find your lake with the survey, and we're going to really want you to fill out that survey online. Okay, so do us a favor. It's good to get that information coming back, even if you don't think that you have a lot to offer, or if you think you got a ton to offer. We really want to hear about that. So please fill out that survey. We got plenty of time before the planning process in the next 24 months. Okay, any questions with that? I went through a lot. Okay, good. Well, then I could, I guess I'll turn it over to Ryan. If Ryan's ready.
Would somebody just give us the actual website for the Oconto? www, whatever.
I will share my screen right here.
And
Okay.
so we'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, you can also
Okay.
put it in the chat, but
Put it in the chat. Oh, right here,
Oh, there it is.
write it down. I could take a picture of it too.
And again, in general, if you go to the county website, go to the Land and Water Conservation Department, and then start looking for tabs on surface water and aquatic invasives, and you'll get there pretty quickly.
Thank you.
So my name's Ryan Haney. I'm with the Center Shed for Watershed Science and Center Shed, the Center for Watershed Science and Education at UW-Stevens Point. And we've joined forces with at Oconto County, DNR, Ocklawaha, UW Extension, to basically bring this project forth. So Dale gave you a little bit of background. This started back in 2016. Again, the object just to be to create a baseline, get baseline information on 60 plus lakes in the county with public access, and then develop lake management plans for those lakes. Again, with the idea of just kind of assessing and inventorying where the lakes are at this time to identify priorities for his office and various agencies, and then also fold each of those lake management plans into the greater umbrella that is the operational strategy for the county. And so that's where you guys come into play. Now, you guys have a lake association. Can you tell me quickly, someone, why was that association created?
We're a voice with the state, I believe.
Okay.
So we would be recognized. Back in the day, there was a covenant set up for Sunrise Lake development. And when that expired, the idea of the founding people around the lake thought it'd be a good idea to apply to be a lake association in the state of Wisconsin.
Okay. Well, I think that's very insightful of you. Most groups, most organizations get formed, in response to something. So all of a sudden now they're dealing with invasive species, or all of a sudden they've got something and they scramble together and get a
Right.
group together. So you guys are already ahead of the game. Now you haven't done any formal lake management planning yet, though, have you?
Correct, we have not.
Okay. Well, then you guys are perfect for this.
Hey, Ryan,
yeah.
a question to Reed and the gang.
Yeah.
Your association, I did not see it listed on the website for the UW Stevens Point, where they sort of categorize all the lake groups. Do you guys send that information in, or are you just more of an informal group?
As far as the information, like for water clarity, Herb and I actually just took that over from a previous gentleman. And
Yeah.
it's being sent into I think Madison or Herb, I don't know, where is that actually being sent to?
Yeah, that
That's on
probably
that
goes-
website, the Seki, I think it's called.
Yeah, that's the SWIMS website. So that's the state database.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Steve said, when I was looking earlier today, I didn't know you guys had a lake association. I did not see that listed on the DNR page for your lake. So that'll be something I'll follow up with as part of this process to make sure that you guys are recognized, because it's good that, like you say, it's good to have a voice, and it's good for state folks to have a contact if they need it. So
I believe it was
follow.
developed right around 2000 is when
Okay.
we actually were organized.
Okay.
Right, but you don't show up on a list of lake organizations for Oconto County.
Okay,
But the Oconto County Lakes and Waterways Association could help you with that process as well,
oh,
so.
great.
Probably even a better resource. Yeah, so just to introduce everyone that's on, in case you don't know, Steve is with the Oconto County Lake and Waterways Association, just an umbrella group of lake associations and districts in Oconto County. They have meetings, membership. You can participate with them, and they also host trainings and various events, things like that. Yeah, anything to add to that, Steve?
Yeah, and we actually have our annual meeting on April 29th, Saturday, 9 o'clock at the Riverview Town Hall this year. We're going to be training people on how to write out grants so that they have the best chance of being successful in any grants they need for their lake. And we'll have an AIS, Aquatic Invasive Species Training Program, on June 10th. In your area, that'll be at the Lakewood Fire Department in the 1 o'clock in the afternoon on June 10th. We'll train you how to identify aquatic species invasives from good plants. And we're going to have a fall meeting to further do some more training on terrestrial invasives, as well as finish the grants, because grants have to be written usually around September. So we'll do a follow-up in August to make sure everybody's up to date. You're welcome to attend, even though you're not a member at this point in time. It's open to the public, and if you'd like to attend, I'd be glad to communicate with any of you on that.
What's your last name, Steve?
My last name is Heimerman. It's Heimerman. But you can reach us at Oclawa, OCLAWA.net. That's the Oconto County Lakes and Waterways Association, and we are a non-government organization. We have 31 lake associations, lake districts, conservation and sportsmen's clubs throughout the county as members.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. And Derek Thorne is also on. He's the invasive species coordinator for your area. And he works a lot with Steve, will be involved in some of those trainings, and another resource available to you to meet. Brenda Nordine is your DNR lake biologist for the area. She wasn't available to be on tonight, but we have Claire Hetzel with the DNR on tonight, works with Brenda. She's another resource. Chip Long will be your fish biologist with the DNR. He's not on tonight, but will be when we go over this data and present recommendations, which I'll get into in a little bit. And then you've met Ken and with Oconto County. He's the Oconto County conservationist at the Land Conservation Department, and Dale Moore at UW Extension. So again, we're really just here to introduce this project to you, let you know that your lake is just coming into the fold here, and introduce ourselves to you. A big part of this project, not only will you get some baseline information and a lake management plan out of this process, but hopefully just introducing you to the faces and the resources in your area too. It'll be a benefit to you. So yeah, on the slide here, that website is listed. That's going to be kind of your home base going forward. Again, not only with updates and schedules, but again, the two kind of umbrella reports for this project, the state of the lakes and the operational strategy, can both be read there. Your individual lake report and lake management plan will actually be appendices to these two umbrella reports. And you can go there and find anything else you like as well. So you can read lake reports and lake management plans from all the other lakes that have gone through this process so far. If you're curious about a lake or just want to see what it looks like. There are the stakeholder surveys there where people, lake users can take a survey about your lake, or maybe it's another lake that you use and are familiar with. That just kind of all goes into a database to kind of quantify those various perceptions we have. And then, yeah, so I will move on. Feel free, just jump out with any questions. Let's see. That and
Yes.
so just to describe a little bit what a lake management plan is for those of you who are familiar, it's really designed to be a clearinghouse document where everything about your lake kind of comes into one place. So there's sportsmen's groups, there's the DNR, there's the university. You have individual lake owners doing things on their shoreline. So the lake management plan is really just to kind of be a single document where all the current information we know about the lake is housed. And then with that, coupled together with the goals and objectives that are set forth either by recommendations of scientists and managers, and then you as lake users and what you experience there on the lake. So again, you guys are in a really good spot. You started a lake association long ago. That's a very proactive thing to do. And again, now if we can get a lake management plan on the books before you have any issues set in, another good place. So a lake management plan isn't just to respond to an issue, it's to inventory where things are at and establish methods for preserving that. If there's any problems, correcting those problems.
Does the size of our lake matter? I mean, I realize this is a pretty small body of water, more like a
Sure.
pond than a lake. Does that
Yeah.
affect us in different ways than other larger lakes?
Well, you certainly, and as you'll see, I mean, you certainly, being a smaller lake, you probably have a smaller watershed and fewer people visiting. So that's going to affect your lake in hopefully a positive way. But as far as eligibility to the project, the fact that you have public access makes you eligible for those grants.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that being aside, the fact that you're a smaller lake is probably the reason we started in 2016 and we're just getting around to you. A lot of times it's the squeaky wheels get the grease, and you
Right.
guys have been pretty quiet. So
Yeah. We haven't had any major problems, so.
that's good news. That's good news. So the lake study addresses a number of different parameters. These are all images from that state of the lakes report. So in addition to just your own results, you can go in and explore this state of the lakes report where it kind of ranks all the lakes in the study. So, I can tell you where you're at, but, sometimes it helps to understand that a bit relative to other lakes. And so, again, you guys won't be included in this report until the end of your study, but again, you can kind of see how things shake out there. And again, we're looking at aquatic plants, we're looking at water chemistry, we're looking at the watershed, we're looking at shoreline habitat, recreational issues, and a number of different things like that. So lake management plans are governed under chapter NR 193. And basically this, you're free to read this if you all are interested. There's some guidance that goes with it that's even longer. So, you know, if you're feeling bored one day, but essentially it lists these 12 components that are required as part of a comprehensive lake management plan. And so we see a lot of the, you know, the physical data, the chemistry, our watershed, you know, land ownership. There's some phosphorus modeling that goes in, fisheries data, all stuff like that. So these will basically be divided, what I would essentially consider chapters of your plan once it all comes to fruition. And we will assist you in generating this plan at the end, start you off with the drafts and things like that. So we can talk about that later. So where you are in the picture, you're just coming in here at number 1. So we're initiating a 2-year lake study on Sunrise Lake. I see you guys have been involved in the citizen monitoring for quite a few years, and that's fantastic. Any data about your lake we can find that we can find in the database or in somebody's files will be rolled into the study. So all those measurements you've been taking over the years will be included in this. And we definitely encourage you to continue that monitoring, not only through this project, but going on beyond that. So we do a 2-year study. We start this summer. We go through the winter and through the next summer. And into the fall. And so we get 2 full growing seasons and a spring and fall in our study. Again, really just a quick snapshot of a lake that's maybe 10,000 years old, right? So, but it'll at least give us some good baseline information. Again, you've got some of the water chemistry established, but this will give you a good assessment of your aquatic plant community, your shoreline habitat, the land use in the watershed, what kind of phosphorus inputs, nutrient inputs you may have to your lake from that watershed, things like that. So between now and then, you may not hear a whole lot from us unless you choose to. That study will start this summer, and so you may start to see DNR boats or university boats on the lake doing different information. If you're interested, and I may even look this up here at the end, we do have some of those dates when this summer that the DNR plans on being out there that we could share with you. So if you're interested in tagging along with some of those surveys, part or all, you're generally welcomed, and we can give you that contact information, and you can learn about that but unless you decide to partake in that as either a citizen monitor or participate in some of these surveys, you may not hear much about the study until let's see, what are we in 23? So, you know, towards the end of 2024 and maybe winter of 2025, we'll be wrapping our study up and generating the initial summary report, which will get published online. At that point, we will set up another series of meetings with you to present the results of that study. What we've learned. Again, we'll have all the different experts in attendance to present what they studied and what their recommendations are, and discuss that with you guys. And then we will start drafting a lake management plan. So we'll get the brunt of that started for you guys, and then we'll just start an iterative process where we go back and forth with that plan until your association has something that they're satisfied with. And then once that plan is finalized, it goes on file with the DNR, with the state, with your local municipality, things like that, so that it can be referenced by anyone who's interested.
Ryan,
So,
do
yeah.
you know, Ryan, who's going to be doing the data collection on this lake?
It'll be Brenda and her crew.
So I just like to point out, I don't know how Ryan does, but Brenda's always looking for volunteers that if they want to go out and help do some of the surveying or data collection, whether it's for a couple hours or a day, she always says, or wants to do all of it, whatever. But she's always looking for volunteers to go out with her.
Yeah. She can,
that
she can use a
Brenda
little grunt
Nordine?
labor. She can use a little grunt labor out there on the boat. So,
Is that Brenda Nordine? you
correct.
mentioned?
Yes.
Okay. Can you give us those dates?
Let me see what I can find here. I think she gave us those for this year already.
Sarah, maybe this would be a good time.
Siri, oh, there she is.
I'm going to launch another one of those polls. While we wait for Ryan to find that info.
Sunrise.
Should see a question on your screen.
All of the above.
Right. I guess that would be other. Oh, you're right. We should have included it all of the above.
Oh.
We could give them Brenda's email too, Ryan.
Yeah, what is that? I was just typing that out.
I
Oh,
think I got it here.
oh,
WD
So Sunrise Lake, she
DNR.
has for shoreland survey, July. She doesn't have the exact date, just says she plans on doing it in July.
I have August 9th.
That was boundary.
Which one was that updated? Make sure I got the right one here.
Oh, that's okay. These things can change.
Yeah, I have August 9th for aquatic plants and shoreline
Okay,
from Brenda.
what's the date in this then? We'll have to work on that.
I'm gonna share
Either,
the,
either Ken or Ryan, do you guys ever come out to associations and explain this to, if we have a group together, like at an annual meeting,
We have,
we get like we do we often have the US Forest Service has somebody that comes out and explains what's going on. Do you guys do anything like that?
We have, like Ken says, we have, when this started back in 2016, we were doing all these meetings in person.
Sure.
And then we went through COVID and now we've kind of gotten onto this new model, but we have, again, sometimes Ken is available, sometimes Brenda Nordine is available to do those if you set something up with them. And again, this will, we'll probably be looking at spring 2025 for our planning meeting, and maybe by then we could plan to do it in person at some sort of association meeting.
Okay, I was just thinking that's at the beginning of it, it might be explained, and then you go for a couple of years, and then you explain the ending of it once it's.
Right.
Yeah.
no,
And
and
there's no, we often end up with a different group at this first meeting than at the second meeting. It's not uncommon.
That's the way it goes these days.
Yeah.
I guess the best is just let me know when you're having it, and if I can make it, I try to, but we also got 60 lakes in the county, so.
Yeah.
I try to.
But we
only
also
do so
have, we
many
also
a
have
year.
Derek Thorne on board, and Ocala would be willing to send a representative to help you as well, especially since you're fairly new into this process.
We have our annual meeting on May 20th this year.
Yeah, and Ocala obviously very familiar with this project, so.
Where do you have your meeting, Herb?
Actually at our home on the lake.
Okay,
I think it's May 27th.
27th?
Yeah,
Okay. Sorry about that.
it's okay.
I had it early, so I didn't make it, so I didn't miss it.
Did anyone have any anything else they wanted to bring up, I guess? I
Well,
see
let's
you
look
guys
at the
have,
poll, Ryan. Did you look at the poll yet?
well, I see that, yeah. Lake activity.
It's really hard to do skiing on our lake, on our pond.
I see you guys have the natural area there adjacent to your lake, so that's huge.
Right.
You are no wake, aren't you?
Yeah,
Yes.
non-motor, gas motors.
gas.
Oh, non-gas, okay.
Yeah. So it's been real hard for anybody to do any water skiing with electric motors so far.
Yeah.
Though those electric motors are really coming along. So
They
might-
are.
you
Yeah,
might have
couple
to
more
change
years.
something there.
Hmm.
Yeah, so anything else, Ken?
Guess I would just say that if anybody's interested in volunteer with Brenda or have questions or whatever, or wants stuff, I've got the list of your emails that you sent, so I could send you the link. We sell them to all the advertisers and stuff, so that's how we make our budget work, so. No, we don't share it with anyone but Ryan and myself and whatever, we use that to communicate back and forth with you. Anybody else wants to be on it that didn't make the meeting, they can, by all means, get on. But you can anytime just email me, call me, Ryan, whatever, we can set up with Brenda or any questions or other stuff you have, so. Or if you're looking for more information on the website ain't working or whatever, which that happens on a new one, but.
Herb and Reed, you guys intend to continue monitoring this summer?
Yes, we will.
Okay, and that's just doing the Secchi disc?
Correct.
Yes.
Are you guys interested in doing water samples as well as part of that?
We could.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, similarly, Brenda would probably come out or Claire probably and just show you the procedure for that. But once, I think 3 times a summer, so once a month. I'm not sure how often you're doing the Secchi measurements, but in conjunction with one of your Secchi measurements, you go out and basically fill up a couple of bottles with water, essentially, and they provide a postage paid cooler to send that into the state lab and things like that. It's good monitoring for you guys, just in addition to your water clarity. And in this case, if you're able to do that, it can reduce cost to the project because it just reduces the number of times that other folks would have to visit there to get those samples.
So do you
So-
send you send the bottles out to us?
Yep, the bottles are sent to you in a cooler, and you just fill those. It's pretty straightforward. You just fill those coolers up, stick the bottles in, put the return envelope stamp on it, and send it in, and they keep up with you. So if you guys,
So Reed, don't you?
Yeah,
I'll
that
let
would be
Brenda
fine.
know.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let Brenda know, and if she, assuming she has the availability in her program to get you guys in, I'll have her get in touch with you.
Sure.
Great.
Did
We
you
can
meet with-
also
I
get
can
you
video-
a temperature gauge so you can measure temperature profile from top to bottom as well.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yep.
I threw a link to
bottom.
the water chemistry how-to video that UW Extension makes on the chat. So if anybody wants to look at that and how it actually all works, go for it.
Cool.
No, it's cold at the bottom.
If there's any way of warming the bottom lake temperature up like the upper level, that would be interesting too. It's always colder on the bottom.
Can you give us any heaters? Any heaters?
That's where the trout have to live.
I haven't seen no trout in our lake.
It's weird, with it being a smaller lake, you would think that it would keep turning over or stay
Yeah.
turn over more often than a bigger lake.
And it may, there are some lakes that are right on the verge of that do some funky things. We'll see.
No, the lake is pretty deep though, so I think that's why you don't get as much turnover.
What do you
Right,
have it
no,
measured at
no.
for depth?
Sorry.
What do you have it measured at for depth?
I only have what's reported on the DNR site at 30 feet.
Yeah,
I've marked 40 43.
Yeah, I
Have
think
you?
there's some
Okay.
others. Mhm.
And, you know, again, as part of the study, they'll be out there with sonar. And they'll generate a new topographic map of the lake bottom. They're usually pretty similar to the old maps, but sometimes we see some changes. In the old days, they just would go out there on the ice and drill holes and lower a weight down, see how far it went, and then they go back to the office and connect the dots and the contour lines. But now they, with the sonar, they do a pretty continuous scan of the bottom, so it's kind of neat. And then you have that electronically too, as opposed to the old maps.
All Herb and I want to find out is the deepest point, so we'll know some good fishing holes.
And we don't want it on the map, so everybody
Right.
else knows.
Oh, yeah,
That has to be sent privately.
there is
You
that.
better make sure that deep hole's got oxygen down there.
All right, well, that's all I have. Again, feel free to contact any one of us throughout the process. If you just want to see where things are at, or you forgot where to find things, no problem. If you see something interesting, definitely let us know.
Hey, Ryan,
Yeah,
I think, see, we got a few minutes left. I think Sarah can ask him one more question.
sure.
And a question I'd like to ask is anybody a resident on Sunrise Lake, or is everybody a weekender?
No, there are residents. There's probably,
think.
what do we count? There must be about maybe 10.
Oh, good. 10 out of how many places?
Wow.
Herb, are you referring to directly on the lake?
Right.
Sure.
Yeah,
Oh.
'cause there's probably more than that.
Not
about
on the lake, yeah, there's probably, on the lake, there's probably, what,
5 to 10?
no, there's 2 down by us.
On or directly adjacent, if they're not right on the lake.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
If they're in the
Pretty easy.
association, I guess.
They go south for the winter.
Yeah, yeah. How many are there in the winter? Yeah, that's the big.
I-
A lot of snowbirds.
I guess I count 5 or 6 right on the lake,
Okay, as residents, good.
at least. Yeah,
Full timers, yeah.
That means there's generally going to be somebody there when somebody shows up to do something, so you aren't going to be blindsided that somebody was there. Somebody's going to see them and hopefully
Sure.
interact with us.
This is Dale Moore. I've got a question for all of you. We used to set a date and a time and try to meet with you, whether it's a Friday evening, a Saturday morning, or Saturday night. But we decided to go to the Zoom process, and I only saw about 3 postcards come back out of a few hundred that we sent out for Meet Your Scientist, not just for your lake, but the others as well. Did it work with the notification? And are you okay with the Zoom? We're just looking for some feedback.
Definitely worked. We probably wouldn't have been able to attend without it being a Zoom.
yeah,
What do you now?
Zoom was good.
Okay,
Zoom is great.
I would agree.
Yeah, that's fine.
this will go a long way in helping us strategize on how we want to go forth with the other lakes and try to get as much in front of as many people as we can. And we always try to update our address list every year because a lot of people move, that sort of thing. So by doing that, we see we're not getting a lot of return postcards. But I'm glad you didn't throw the postcard away. We put the frog on there to at least get your attention. Because otherwise you might be something from the government or something. Yeah, there it is.
It's cute.
It's all about marketing. All right, great. Thank you very much.
There's somebody here who has a hand raised. Mike
Sorry?
has a hand raised. I don't know if he had a comment or a question.
Oh, I missed that. Mike is muted. If you have a question, you can unmute. Maybe he didn't mean to raise his hand.
I'm not sure who Mike is either.
Okay.
Mike, is that Mike Rasmussen?
No, it's Mike Shug.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, Mike.
Oh,
Wasn't sure which one, because your last name isn't appearing.
Did you have a question, Mike?
No, I don't have any questions.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, with that, I'm gonna launch one more poll question. And it's kind of pertaining about how you think as a group you might use a plan like this, like something that we will be developing a management plan, and thinking about how your group would use it.
Sarah, I think next time you gotta get the background music going while it's going under countdown.
Ding, ding,
could work.
ding, 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 ding.
There it is.
Hopefully it's showing up for everybody. I see some votes coming in.
I love
Maybe-
loaded
maybe-
questions.
Oh, excuse me. Maybe Ken or Dale, just, I'd like to know, since you have been doing this and it's a 2-year program, some of the lakes that you have done, what have you been able to do for them? I mean, is it better fishing? Is it better? What
We-
what are we,
let's see if we saw-
Yeah,
what are
that-
some of the results that you have had?
Yeah, that's a good question. See, we've been, like I said, we started this in 2016. So far, we've got quite a list of stuff that we've accomplished with this. Everything from fish habitat work, fish sticks and stuff. Part of our cost share program, we do that, but going through these meetings and that actually brought some of this information out, I guess, if you want to say, and that they could do it and how it works and stuff. On a few of the lakes, we've done a lot of shoreline projects, like shoreline restoration, whether it's rain gardens or little buffers and stuff like that. It actually gets into some, I forget which lake it was, but they actually, I think it started helping them working with Chip and the fisheries, because they had too many little bluegills or too many little bass. And so they actually went through the process with him on trying to get their size limit structure changed on their lake. Some of the, I think we had, what, 1 or 2 that are working on being an association, possibly. Lake District, one turn to. Yeah, it's got a lot of information out there and a lot of stuff. And I've always said, I don't know if it was our fault for not getting the information out better, but I guess I don't know how to get it out there better I mean, short of mailing every landowner in Oconto County, you know, and,
Mhm.
but yeah, no, there's been quite a bit of stuff. I don't know, Dale, you got anything to add? Or-
Yeah, one of the things that I'm spearheading is that usually in the springtime, I will contact each of the lakes that are completed now with their plan. And each year, talk with the leadership that's been self-identified to find out how they've been getting the information out to their members. What are the key concerns that they have? Are there some initiatives that they'd like to do? That sort of thing. And I bring it back to the rest of the team. You know, somebody said, hey, you know what? We got a lot of problems with people dumping leaves in the lake. We got a lot of shallow areas. It's a lot of muck. Is there a way that we could form a small group and we could actually help clean up the neighbors that have the leaves that are down by the lake? And we're like, hey, you know what? Let's look into it. Well, they got a small grant to build a leaf collection system. And they go around their little bowl of a lake to make sure that they get as much of the leaves as they can. It'll probably not change the dynamic of the lake overall, but it will have an immediate impact where they're not having all that debris floating around and then sinking in the shallow water. So long story short, that probably would not have happened without the inquiry and without their connection of the lake plan. And then, so anyway, long story short, we will make contact with you going forward. So I'll leave it at that.
Good. Thank you. Hey.
Yeah, so I think Ryan just put up there kind of a list of, that we put together a while ago of some of the accomplishments that we were reporting to DNR and stuff that you can see on there, the different things that we've done.
do other people around the lake, Herb, do you get the Lake Tide newsletter from the state? Oh, I can't hear you, Herb.
We get it. We get it. Lake Tides.
Yes,
do
we
not.
get it too. Yeah.
Did anyone mention it? I might have missed it, but training coming up. I can't even think of it now. The lakes training,
Yes.
Lake
Lake
leaders.
Convention?
Wisconsin Lakes Convention?
Yeah.
Mhm,
anyone mention that?
No, nobody mentioned that yet, this meeting.
mhm.
There you go, Sarah.
Oh, Lakes Convention is an incredible event. It takes place in Stevens Point. It's run by Extension Lakes and the Wisconsin Lakes Partnership. Just a really awesome learning experience, and we always recommend that lake associations or groups send a couple representatives there just to soak up all the information, and they have workshops. I love it.
That's
And
how I
that's
thought.
April 19th, 20th, and 21st. Oh, yeah. Yep, there it is.
That's how I thought we were registered with the state of Wisconsin as a lake association, because ever since we started the Lake Association, we've been getting that newsletter.
It's possible that the Extension Lakes website isn't necessarily up to date. They probably update it. I don't know. I guess that I don't know what we're going through a website update, so it's possible that there's some sort of snafu with that, or
Okay.
Well, Sarah, the understanding I had, because we actually had a couple organizations that weren't on there anymore, and they do ask that you update every few years, sending in your information, because the contact people change so often.
Sure.
So if you haven't sent anything in, maybe in 5 years, you might just have disappeared. So it's always good to keep that up every year.
Okay.
yeah, I can try to find a contact where you could just send that information to them just so that they can.
Yeah, they have a place there's a link where you can enter your data. Yeah.
Trying to find it.
WX Lakes.
Yeah. Here it is.
And do people file your 990 EZ form with the federal government every year?
Yes, definitely.
Oh, great, good. We've had quite a few groups that have forgotten that one, and they lose their tax exempt status.
Shannon, are we filing that? Because I researched and we didn't have a tax exempt status when I was asked to research it.
Sorry, I brought the question up.
I don't know.
We can take it offline. I was asked about 2 years ago and I dug into it, and with the state and through the 501c3s, and I could not find it.
Yeah, and the state
anywhere.
is.
But I did save all my documentation.
Yeah, the state is a different filing. They actually have 2 filings with the state, and there's one with the federal government. So you have to do all 3.
I did save my work on that, so if it comes up again, I can pull it out.
Yeah, that had got brought up, I believe, Jan, when we were with the Firewise committee, wasn't it? Didn't they?
It was
I
in
don't
the
think it
last
was
2 or
tax
3
exempt.
years.
It was something else. I'd have to look it up.
It was something with being
related to
nonprofit for getting,
Nonprofit.
It was with tax deductibility nonprofit.
right. Okay.
Didn't that come up when we, in the Firewise, when they were talking about the grants and having to
Correct.
write that? That's when it
Correct.
was.
Right. And I thought somebody said that we would have been qualified because we had met that requirement.
Yeah, I don't know
There-
offhand.
That was with
There
that
were
big
some
grant
very-
that we decided not to do.
There were some of the early founding members of the neighborhood association, which Lake Association is,
Right.
had gone through the process to qualify as a 501c3 nonprofit. However, when I researched it, it appeared it had not been maintained because it was not on file with the taxing authorities.
So is that again, something that has to be done every so many years to make sure that it's up to date?
Well, you have to do it once and then you have to file every year. So we probably would have to start over.
Okay, all right. That makes sense, Jackie.
Yep.
That's where I can tell you that Okwala can help you with that because they work with the other lake associations that are filing them paperworks and whatnot. And if you got questions and stuff, they can help you with that. That's part of their goal. What they want to do is help out the lakes with different stuff. So,
Sure.
right, Steve?
We've done it before and we'll do it again.
And even Derek can help too if he's knows maybe not quite that stuff, but at least on DNR grants or applications for stuff or whatever. But and again, I'd like to mention before we leave, we got another meeting after you guys, but just to remind you, if you have issues with the lake or on your property or whatever, you don't have to wait until this plan's done. I can come out, obviously not right now, I'm not gonna, but we can come out anytime though and look at your, try and figure out what's going on or fix some erosion problems or whatever. So,
Thanks for the offer.
yep.
Much appreciated.
And I guess just one thing people always think is that when we're talking about shoreline restoration or runoff is right at the lake. Sometimes we've actually worked behind the cabins and the houses on the driveways and stuff that get washed out going into the lake and different things like that. So we look at the whole watershed problem coming in to the issue area, I guess we want to call it. So, but yeah, we go to all kinds of lakes during the summer, spring, summer, and fall. So, is there any other?
I see Carrie mentioned the fish crib idea that you've installed those. So I'm assuming those are done with the DNR. And are those fresh or are those older cribs?
A couple of years ago, they did a couple of them.
Are you happy with it? Is that doing something good for you or how do you feel about that?
I'm not a fisherman, so I'm not the one to answer that question.
Okay.
But I don't know. There still is a lot of talk about how there's not anywhere near the amount of fish in the lake that there used to be.
Okay.
And that's what, on our end in our cost share program, we will fund up to $2,500 towards fish sticks. We don't do fish cribs because fish cribs aren't as effective as fish sticks are for all sizes of fish and everything, I guess you want to say. You'll get more habitat, I guess, out of fish sticks, maybe it's the easiest way. So, and even with that, if you're interested in it, I know it's a simple process, a $50 permit for 5 years. And Chip Long, your DNR fish biologist, comes out and actually helps. The hardest part always is finding the trees, because you need to use live trees. You bundle them together and then finding someone that wants to have trees laying from shore out into the water, but usually the fishermen are happy to have them next to their dock, but so that is one practice for the fishery, I guess, and everything. We do cost share that as part of our program. One time we'll cost share it. So
could I request that, after the meeting is all done, if on an email, you could send a listing of all of you people with your addresses and with your email addresses to each of us so that we'd just be able to print it off and have a copy or keep it. That would be very helpful.
sure,
So that
we
as
can do
this
that.
comes up, so
Yep.
that as things come up, we've got a list.
Yeah, that shouldn't be an issue.
Okay, we'd appreciate that.
It might take till tomorrow, but
Oh, yeah, we're not gonna call you back tonight.
Yeah, if you could include Derek and I on that too, Ken, that would
Yes.
be good.
yep.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Super.
All right, if there's no more questions, we got Crooked Lake coming up next. So your neighbors are
All right.
also getting into it the same time you guys are. So
Oh, they haven't done it before either, huh?
I don't know if they've had a previous lake plan.
They worked with Onterra back in 2018.
Okay. Yeah, but it'll be the first time through us.
Yeah.
So,
Great.
all right, well, thanks for everyone for showing up. And again, if you have any questions at any time, just call,
Thank
email,
you very
whatever.
much for letting us know about this opportunity.
Yeah.
We
And
appreciate your insight.
again,
We
any,
sure do.
anybody that wants to volunteer with Brenda to go out, like I say, for a couple hours, whatever, you can either email me or Ryan or something. We'll get the information to Brenda, your name and phone number, I guess, and when to call you.
Sounds great.
All right, everyone have a great evening.
Yep, good
Thank
night,
you for your
everyone.
help. We
Yep.
appreciate it.
Take care. Thanks, you
Yeah.
guys.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye now.